I want them to know the truth. Truly, I love them.
They gave him to me first. I cradled him in my arms. Everything became so surreal.
Being a child myself, I had no concept of fatherhood. Having 2 children in the home by my 18th birthday was difficult at best.
I remember the day I brought her home. I thought I was going to go crazy because she was a girl. And I thought about all the bad things I'd done to girls and playing games. She had 2 little pigtails. I thought she was mad cute. She had a list. And she used to say, Daddy, Daddies, I love you. I felt like I would never let nothing happen to her.
I love them so much because they just run up and hold me. They hold me. I just got off of work on Friday, and I do iron work. I'm dirty. I'm sweaty. I knocked on the door. They ran right up to me, like, Daddy. Like a Hollywood movie, you know? I said, I'm just getting off of work. I'm dirty. They didn't care. They just kept holding me and holding me and holding me.
He kept asking me, Dad, do you remember that one-handed catch I made on the sidelines? Dad, do you remember how I scored the touchdown? Dad, do you remember this, remember that? It occurred to me that my only son was seeking my approval.
I feel like they hear these lies. She says I don't love them, that I don't care about them, that I'm a piece of you know what, that I'm in jail instead of in school. The worst you could think of. Some of it's true.
They said I was a different person when I was using. And that I was going to be either in jail or dead. My wife didn't want to be with me because I was a drunk. And I lost privileges to being around her and my son.
He said, you're following into the stereotypical Black American. You have never committed to anything. You should be running around with a lot of girls, man.
I was sitting there drinking, getting high. I started staring at the wall, and I felt my soul leave my body. And when I turned around, I seen a shotgun. It was pointing right at my head. I looked at the shooter, and it was me. I was holding the shotgun. I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't stop remembering losing Anaya. The hardest part was I had to go identify her at the morgue after the autopsy. That was a rough year. I went to 8 funerals back to back. It was crazy. I was always isolating myself from everybody. I was buying big ass bottles and killing anything that would do the job. Anything to forget. And I just looked at my life, and the only person who could make it worse was myself.
And I started thinking about why I live, where I'm living. And I tell you, I realized then that the current lifestyle that I was living, it ran its course. You know, change must come, or that death would be my outcome. It's funny, after accepting that fact, sharp pains came like running through and racing through my eyes, and I couldn't see for about 10 to 15 minutes. You know, during that time that I just spent with myself, I made that conscious decision to change. And honestly, I think that that was really the first time that change began.
Now I'm letting myself grieve. I'm really in love with my wife because she gave me another chance to be happy. The first time I chilled with her, she got in my car and I told her that we was gonna have a son and I was gonna marry her. She thought I was crazy. And I described her that he was gonna have dirty blonde hair, with blue eyes, and dark skin, just like an eye. And he does.
Poor life choices kept me away from my children for long periods of time. So in effect, they grew up without a father in the home. By the time I re-entered their lives, they were adults. Reconnecting with them had its own set of challenges, but I feel blessed that we have moved along enough that we speak and see one another quite frequently. My children often call me and ask my opinion or advice on issues. My daughter permits me to be around my 2 grandchildren and even lets me keep them at my house from time to time. I'm probably never going to be Father of the Year, but perhaps with time I'll one day be Grandfather of the Year.
My son was one of the things in my life I was never gonna walk away from. He was just not my child, he was my investment. He was not gonna grow up to be a criminal, a hustler, as I've seen so many of my peers fall into. He was gonna grow up with love. Now he feels like he is responsible for his daddy. The love came back. Thank you, son. Thank you, Jabari.
Do they know the difference between lies and truth? I don't know. I think the love and energy I put into them is growing. I know that. And they give it right back to me, times 2.